In the first 7 minutes on ABC 17 News at noon, Attorney General Josh Hawley is taking on some opioid manufacturers, accusing them of fraud. We're live in St. Louis with a look at the AG's plan to combat the opioid crisis, and we'll tell you what it involves. And we now know a duplex fire in South Columbia overnight caused $50,000 in damage. We'll give you a look at the scene, and we'll tell you what firefighters are saying about where it started.
And hot and humid as we head through the day, thanks in large part to our southerly winds. I'll break down what that means for you as we head into the afternoon, coming up in the first 7 minutes.
ABC 17 News at noon on KMIZ starts now.
Attorney General Josh Hawley will soon take on 3 large drug manufacturing companies in court over opioid fraud. Thanks for joining us on this Wednesday afternoon. I'm Kelsey Kerwin. This morning, Hawley announced he's filed a lawsuit against Purdue Pharma, Endo Health Solutions, and Janssen Pharmaceuticals, claiming they misrepresented the serious risks the drugs pose to Missourians. ABC 17's Sarah Massler-Donar joins us live from St. Louis, where Hawley formally announced the lawsuit. And Sarah, he says they have enough evidence to prove the fraud in court.
He did, Kelsey. Just about an hour and a half ago, Hawley stood on the steps of this courthouse behind me and said he's going to be seeking hundreds of millions of dollars in damages and millions more in civil penalties. Hawley said that he's confident that they'll be able to recover the money. He said it's going to be used for current and former He says it's going to be used for restitution for current and former opioid addicts. And then he also said the money would be used for rehabilitation and job training programs as well. Hawley claims the companies lied about the nature of their drugs and told consumers and doctors that the drugs are not addictive. Today, 2 Missourians whose lives have been affected by opioids spoke. One woman's daughter died after she was addicted to opioids, and the other guest was Eddie Bunnell. Eddie is a former addict, and he actually participated in the opioid town hall that we presented last month in May, and he and I spoke after today's presentation about his thoughts on Hawley taking on these drug companies in the lawsuit.
There's been no kind of coverage for the prescription drug problem that we do have, and to have the Attorney General come out and say he's filing these lawsuits against the big pharmaceutical companies, that they don't, those companies don't have interest in people, they have interest in money. So it's really, I hope this hits them.
I'll be wrapping up this coverage in our early evening shows. We'll have more at 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And I'll have more on whether or not Josh Hawley thinks that this lawsuit is going to jumpstart the legislation here in Missouri to get some sort of PDMP program going and have a prescription drug monitoring program in the state. Reporting live here in St. Louis, Sarah Massler-Donar, ABC 17 News.
And we've told you before, that Missouri is the last state in the country that hasn't established a PDMP. We have extensive coverage of this topic on our website, including special reports on the opioid epidemic and our town hall. You can find those on our website, abc17news.com. In less than 1 hour now, the University of Missouri System will make an announcement concerning affordable education. System President Dr. Moon Choi is introducing a new initiative to reduce the cost of attendance at the university. This comes as tuition rates are expected to go up for undergraduate students in order to make up for a budget shortfall. We'll break down what the plan involves on ABC 17 News at 5.
Well, it's a warm day out there across mid-Missouri. Temperatures at this hour already beginning to climb into the mid to upper 80s across a good portion of the region. You can see Lake at the Ozarks, 85 degrees, winds out of the southwest. We've got, for the most part, a few passing clouds here or there. And as we head through the afternoon hours, we really are going to see those heat indices work their way into the mid to upper 90s. So what to expect as we head through the remainder of the afternoon hours? By 3 to 5 p.m., notice our high temperature will occur about 93 degrees. It will feel like 97 degrees. So if you are really prone to some heat problems, you want to make sure that you drink plenty of water as we head throughout the remainder of the day into the evening, because beyond 7 p.m. is really when we begin to see those heat indices drop off as we head through the remainder of today. For the most part, it is quiet across mid-Missouri, watching a very weak disturbance across northwestern portions of Missouri that could likely bring a little bit in the way of some spot showers. What's occurring is we have have a warm front that's lifting northward, that's sparking some showers here, really across northern portions of Missouri. And then you can see at the surface, we have winds out of the southwest. That's increasing our moisture content. That's what's causing those heat indices to rise. But as we head through the remainder of today, again, we're going to see the likelihood of some spot showers, mainly affecting Sheraton, Saline, as well as Macon County. You can see it is quiet right now on our ABC 17 Storm Tracker Live Doppler radar. But it's these showers and storms that have been popping up within about the last 2 hours as they gradually track to the southeast. They could likely bring a few spot showers. Other than that, though, today is going to be on the dry side. Again, Future Track not pinpointing those showers as we head through today. It's a very weak disturbance. Models don't like to really associate themselves with those, but spot showers possible as we head through the day. We dry out by evening. Still going to be a warm one out there, so as you head through the remainder of today, you're going to notice that humidity on the rise as it's going to feel like really dew points in the upper 60s. So what to expect through the remainder of the afternoon? Remaining warm, drink plenty of water. We've got increasing humidity. And yes, we've got a high UV index as well. And by the weekend, well, we're going to see those temperatures on the downward trend. I'll break down the reasoning for that as well as our next chance of rain coming up in my next full forecast.
The Pulaski County Sheriff's Department is reminding parents about the dangers of kids left in hot cars after 3 recent hot car rescues in the county. The department says it has responded to 3 incidents in just the last 2 weeks. In each of them, someone got out of the car and locked it with both their keys and a young child still inside. The sheriff says that deputies had to break the windows each time to save the children. The sheriff says since 1998, 712 children have died in hot car incidents, and so far this year, 12 have already died. We now know the cost of damage of a South Columbia fire and where it started. It happened just after 10 last night in the 3700 block of Prescott Drive. Fire crews say it took them about 10 minutes to get the flames under control and say it started in the kitchen. Firefighters also say it caused about $50,000 in damage. The cause is still under investigation today, and no one was hurt. This afternoon, we're also checking back in with Westminster officials after a recent fire in the college at Fulton. We told you it happened last week, and it took firefighters about 90 minutes to put the fire out in the IT building. We asked a spokesperson for the school today who says they have no updates on a cause or damage estimate. No one was hurt in that fire either. In an ABC 17 News Crime Alert, there's no suspect information today after a 3rd shooting is reported in and around Columbia in just 3 days. Columbia police confirmed the shooting in the 2600 block of Quail Drive yesterday afternoon, though no one was hurt. This comes after shootings at the BP gas station on East St. Charles Road Sunday night and another shooting on War Admiral and Triple Crown Drives on Monday. In yesterday's shooting, police say 6 gunshots were fired and a vehicle was hit before the shooter drove off. Officers say they also found a possible bullet hole in a home. Columbia may soon head into a new direction when it comes to community policing. The city will discuss working with a consultant on a community engagement process for the police department. It will focus on getting people involved in a new approach on things like staffing levels, officer morale, and the department outreach. Council members say contract details with the consultant will be out in early July, with a vote 2 weeks later. Ian Thomas, who is a council member, says the group will have its first meeting late this year. Camden County authorities have issued an endangered person advisory for a woman who hasn't been seen since Sunday. The Highway Patrol says 40-year-old Leslie Rogers is missing, and you can see her on your screen right there. She reportedly went to meet with her ex-husband to talk about custody issues. Her vehicle was then later found abandoned in Camdenton. Troopers say she could be with her husband, Philip Rogers, who you also see on your screen, and say that he is considered a suspect. If you see either of these people, call your local law enforcement. Jefferson City Public Schools will now have a significantly bigger budget for the upcoming school year. Last night, the Board of Education approved a budget with more than $91 million in additional expected revenue. We told you voters approved a bond issue and tax levy back in April for a second high school and some needed K-12 resources. The district will spend $27 million for construction of the new school and renovations to the current high school. JCPS also plans to spend about $2.2 million on employee raises, and 17 new employees. The district will also get new math books for grades K through 12 and more devices for the younger grades. The city of Columbia is proposing 2 new roundabouts on Nifong Boulevard, but some people aren't happy about it. The city of Columbia says adding the roundabouts at Sinclair and Old Mill Creek roads on Nifong Boulevard will help traffic flow. However, some people who live in the area disagree, saying a roundabout near the school just isn't safe. They also say it won't help solve traffic problems. The city says it will present the construction plan at a future council meeting. Construction would then start in 2019 if approved. An updated and more restrictive anti-abortion bill is now heading back to the Missouri Senate after it passed the House. The lawmakers spent hours debating amendments to the bill yesterday. In the final version passed, the bill would give the state attorney general power to prosecute any abortion violations without notifying the local prosecutors. It also allows the Department of Health to make annual unannounced inspections at abortion facilities. We're working to find out if a Cole County murder suspect has entered a plea in the case. 52-year-old Michael Phillips is charged with murder and armed criminal action in connection with the stabbing death of Michael Taylor. It happened at the Dooley and Hamilton Towers on Jackson Street back in February, and that's in Jefferson City. When officers got to the scene, they say they found the victim had been stabbed in the neck with a pocket knife. Phillips was scheduled to appear in court for a plea hearing and a trial setting about 2 hours ago. Right now, there's no word yet on if Phillips entered a plea or if a trial date has been set in the case. The Columbia and Boone County Health Department will offer free HIV testing next week. June 27th is National HIV Testing Day. The health department is holding the event from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the PHHS Clinic on Worley, at Living Canvas Tattoo Shop from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., and at Spectrum Healthcare on Wilkes Boulevard from 5:30 to 10 p.m. Tests only take a quick 15 minutes and only requires a finger prick.
Up next on ABC 17 News at noon, where the news comes first.
The Gulf Coast is preparing for Tropical Storm Cindy this afternoon. Coming up after the break, hear what actions authorities are taking around the Gulf and the upgrades the city of New Orleans has made since Hurricane Katrina.
KMIZ, where the news comes first.
In the first 7 minutes on ABC 17 News at noon, right now House members are discussing measures aimed at changing abortion policies in the state. We're live from Jefferson City with an update on the status of the special session. And Boone County has named a new interim county clerk to replace Wendy Noren. We'll tell you who commissioners chose and why Noren resigned.
And plenty of sunshine across mid-Missouri as we head into the afternoon hours. I'll break down what that means for you as we head through the night, coming up in the first 7 minutes.
ABC 17 News at noon on KMIZ starts now.
Right now, the full house is back in the capital city for the special session. Thanks for joining us, everyone. I'm Kelsey Kerwin. Members gavelled in just about 90 minutes ago and are considering measures relating to abortion policies. ABC 17's Jordana Marie has been following these measures as they move through the legislature and joins us live from the Capitol. And Jordana, House members are already busy discussing those amendments this afternoon.
Yeah, Kelsey, they've been discussing amendments to Senate Bill 5 that would change provisions to abortion clinics. They've adopted 2 amendments so far for this bill. The first one would change the length of time the clinic has to get the fetal tissue to the pathologist from 72 hours to 5 days. The second amendment to the bill that they adopted requires doctors to go over risks and side effects of abortions with a woman before she has the procedure done. Now, debate is still going on for the third amendment that is sponsored by Representative Moon right now. Stay with ABC 17 News. I'll have more on this debate in our evening newscast. Reporting live from the Capitol, Jordana Marie, ABC 17 News.
And as part of the special session, lawmakers could also reverse a St. Louis ordinance banning discrimination based on a woman's abortion history. Boone County commissioners have named a temporary replacement to take over as county clerk. We told you last week Wendy Noren is resigning from the position unexpectedly due to health reasons. We now know Art Auer will take over as interim county clerk until Governor Eric Greitens appoints a new one. Presiding Commissioner Dan Atwill says Auer has worked with Noren before and has a great handle on the office. Auer will likely handle the upcoming August elections. His first day on the job is this Saturday.
Well, it's a warm afternoon across mid-Missouri. Temperatures in the mid-80s and will continue to climb as we head through the rest of today. You can see 82 degrees in Montgomery City. A little bit warmer as you work your way back off west. And that's where we're beginning to see that warmer air nose into mid-Missouri. And we're certainly going to feel it as we head not only through today, but as we head through your Wednesday as well as Thursday. Increasing humidity today is leading to a heat index about 1 to 2 degrees above what the actual temperature is reflecting. So make sure you drink plenty of water if you're going to be outside. Winds out of the southwest gradually shift out of the south as we head into the evening. That's going to usher in more in the way of humidity as we head through the overnight hours, which means we're going to see our heat indices climb into the 90s as we head through the next several days. We are seeing a few passing clouds here or there, but overall it is a beautiful afternoon across mid-Missouri. Our next focus, though, shifts to this cold front that's beginning to work its way through the southern portion of the Midwest. That's going to spark a few showers and storms as we head into the evening. Overall, most of them will bypass mid-Missouri, but extreme northwestern or northeastern portions of the region may see a little bit in the way of some spotty showers or storms. And Future Track is pinpointing that as we head beyond 4 p.m. That's where we're going to see a little bit in the way of that action begin to work its way in the northeastern portions of mid-Missouri. Overall, most locations will stay dry today with the exception of areas along and north of Interstate 70, which have that best chance of seeing those spotty showers and storms. They will quickly die down. You can see the better chance is as you work your way across portions of Monroe as well as Audrain County and portions of Macon County as well. There's a slight chance as those storms continue to fall apart that they will continue to track their way along the I-70 corridor and further south. So as we head through the remainder of today, the greatest potential for those rain showers will be as we head from about 5 to 11 p.m. Very weak cold front, less than 1/4 of an inch of rainfall is possible. So what to expect through the remainder of today? We have bearable temps in the mid to upper 80s, a high UV index though. So if you're going to be outside, wear plenty of sunscreen, and we have those spot showers. More storms expected as we head from Thursday on into the weekend. I'll break that down coming up for you in my next full forecast.
A local business is taking the concept of Uber and applying it to boats. Anchor is a new company at the Lake of the Ozarks that offers ride-sharing services on the water. You simply download an app and request your ride. The co-founder says he came up with the idea last year after a friend died in a boating accident and says he hopes the business makes the lake safer.
Folks come down from St. Louis and Kansas City and all over the Midwest, really, who are able to rent a boat but really don't have any experience on what it's like to operate a boat.
All Anchor drivers have to pass background checks and comply with the state boating laws. In an ABC 17 News crime alert, there's still no suspect information today after a shooting in Columbia. It happened just after 3 yesterday afternoon. Officers say they were called to a convenience store on the business loop for reports of 2 people and vehicles arguing. Officers then went to a report of gunshots in the area of War Admiral Drive and Triple Crown Drive. Witnesses in the area reported people shooting at each other from 2 cars. Police say the description of those cars matched those on the business loop call. Officers say they did find shell casings, but say they don't have any reports of injuries or property damage. Anyone with information on the shooting is asked to call the Columbia Police Department or Crime Stoppers at 875-TIPS. And we just checked with deputies within the last hour, and they say they have no updates to report in a separate shooting in Boone County. This one happened at the BP gas station on East St. Charles Road Sunday night. That's where a person allegedly shot 2 women. One of those women was released from the hospital already, and the other is still recovering from a non-life-threatening gunshot wound. Detectives, that is, say that the suspect and victims knew each other, but it's still unclear what might have led to the shooting. A man accused of running a brothel in North Columbia is due in federal court in less than 2 hours now. You may remember the scene on Vandiver near I-70 and Rangeline back in late March. Our crews were there as law enforcement officers arrested 2 people at a home. Barry Manthe and Ronald Clark are accused of promoting prostitution online. Clark is due in court at 2 this afternoon for a show cause hearing. We'll be checking in with court officials to find out what exactly happens at that hearing. We'll let you know what we find out on ABC 17 News at 5. We're still working to find out just how many people were impacted by an outage overnight after a driver crashed into a power pole. It happened in southwest Columbia just before 2 this morning. At last check, water and light crews were still on scene working to replace the pole on Scott Boulevard just off of Thornbrook Terrace. Police say a man in his early 20s crashed into the pole overnight after allegedly falling asleep at the wheel. The driver wasn't hurt, but the crash did knock out power to some surrounding areas. Power is now restored. We've called Water and Light today to find out just how many customers were affected, and we're still waiting to hear back. Court documents ABC 17 News got say a man accused of beating a toddler at a Jefferson City mall is denying the allegations. We told you Bruce Kennedy Jr. was arrested over the weekend. He's now charged with domestic assault and child abuse. Witnesses say he was punching and kicking a 4-year-old at the Jefferson City Mall Saturday. Court documents say Kennedy told investigators the child's bruising was from rough play and said he only smacked her hand twice. The child had minor injuries and is now in protective custody. A Columbia woman remains in jail this afternoon after she's accused of abusing 2 teens. Police say they arrested this woman, Yvonne Piercy, just after 1 yesterday afternoon. They say they were called out to West Ridge Drive for a domestic fight. Then an investigation revealed Piercy and a 15-year-old were in a fight when Piercy pushed the victim to the floor, hit and kicked her. Piercy then chased a 12-year-old outside and grabbed her hair. She's also accused of allegedly throwing keys at a male victim. Police arrested Piercy, and she now faces possible charges of child abuse and domestic assault. The City of Columbia is investigating and deciding whether or not a Columbia bar that is, violated environmental policies. City employees were called out to 7th Street in downtown Columbia yesterday morning. They were cleaning up packing material from a themed party at the bar called My House. The packing peanuts were in the sidewalks, streets, and storm drains. The bar says it bought biodegradable products, but the city is looking into whether or not there were any violations. Jefferson City is now looking at canceling parking enforcement on the day of the upcoming solar eclipse. We told you NASA has selected the city as one of the 7 locations to broadcast the eclipse from. The City Council passed a resolution calling for limited enforcement of the city's parking regulations. That means you won't get a parking ticket on August 21st for an expired meter or other minor parking infractions. Now keep in mind the city is enforcing penalties for illegal parking in bus stops, disabled parking spots, blocking sidewalks, and no parking and loading zones.
Still to come on ABC 17 News at noon, where the news comes first.
The United States appears to be taking steps to show force against North Korea just a day after an American student held in prison there died. Coming up, we'll tell you how the student's family is responding and what action America took following his death.